So if I'm using the lasso as a tool, right, to set up other things, which you're gonna use it a lot, trust me, this is a great position, okay, right? I would be in front of my opponent, okay, and there's a couple different ways to lasso. Okay, if I just wanted to kind of stop them from moving side to side a little bit, I could be flat on my back and just kind of throw it in like this, okay, for now. Because I can't put my foot behind her back because of my angle, all right? But if I actually want to use the hook for anything strong, this is why we shrimp out to the side before we set our lasso. When I shrimp out to the side, that moves my hips out in front of her right knee. Okay, so I'm no longer straight in front of her. I was sitting right here, and now I just move myself off to the side, okay? So when I set my lasso and I'm facing that way, that allows me to wrap my toes around and hook on her back. And that allows me with the hook to control the distance. I can pull in or out with my hook, okay? And then when she tries to pass my guard and stuff, it's really hard because she's hooked on both sides, so she can't just walk around without moving my leg with her, okay? So that's why it's a powerful tool, just as far as guard recovery goes, okay? But for me to do that particular move, just to drill it, this isn't enough of an angle, okay? Hopefully you guys can see, but my hips are still way too close to the center line, okay? So when you guys are drilling this, it really helps a lot if you use your foot that's on the hip to shrimp and actually just scoot your hips out a little more, okay? Because now when I'm really offset to the side, instead of my hips being right here, now I'm way over here and my hips are sideways, okay? But now, when I tuck my head, I can put my head right in the middle. Okay, I want my head to be right in the middle, okay? If anything, I want my head to be out to the side, but I never want it to be in front of this knee, okay? So, when I tuck, I can get right under it, and that puts my body outside of her body when I spin out, okay? Get back. And that allows me to recover right back to the center when I go through my spin. So if I start in the middle, right, I need to make sure I offset nice and far to the left, right? And this is really just for drilling this position, okay? When we're actually using this position, you're probably not gonna be doing this move to somebody that's just sitting in your guard, okay? This isn't an attack that you're just gonna throw out there on somebody because they're gonna see it coming a mile away and it probably won't work. I mean, it might work on somebody that's never seen it before, but once somebody's seen this move, this isn't gonna work, okay? So, but I put my foot out and make sure my hips are outside of the knee here, and that allows me to get deep under. If I'm in the middle and I try to invert and my head is in front of her left knee, here's what happens. Like I'm under her, and when I pull, she's gonna lift across my body, and that's what's happening with a couple of you guys. You're getting flattened out like that. And it's because your head is too close to this knee, and it needs to be in front of this knee, okay? One of the other ways we can do that, let's say I'm playing half guard. My leg's in the middle here, right? And I'm using my lasso. We did a lot of sweeps from here. We did the tilt sweep and stuff like that at the beginning of the lasso lesson. Same thing, I don't want to be here in the middle too much. I can't generate enough leverage to make my sweeps work. So for me personally, what I usually do is I use my toes on my right foot that's on the mat, right? I use that foot to help me shrimp, but I also use this hand a lot. I use this hand on the inside of the knee to push myself out to the side. And it allows me to make a lot of space really quick, but it offsets me to the side where I can now start to do my attacks, like we did the tilt sweep and stuff. We brought the person over that way, okay? But, like let's say I'm here, and now I'm in the perfect spot. If she manages to get this foot free and start to try to pass, now I can invert and recover back, okay? So this particular attack is more than likely going to be used as a defensive move. Okay, so you're going to use it to defend your guard from being passed, and then attempt to catch your opponent in a submission while you're recovering your guard. Okay, so here's kind of an example of what it looks like. See how I use my hand? Like I don't even know if you noticed that, but like I'm here, my feet are on the hips. I use everything to shrimp out so my hips get nice and far, and now I've got a really good angle. Okay. So sometimes like people are gonna try and pass, or let's say Michelle tries to do a knee slide pass right now. So she brings her knee across. Like this is a really bad position, right? Anyone that has their knee across like this, it's really not good for me, okay? Because if I don't address that and she starts to slide through and hug my head, she's gonna pass, right? But the key is knowing that, okay? And knowing that my hips are outside and just not letting her hug my head, okay? Because even from now, if she tries to continue to pass, as long as I don't let her hug my head right? She's already slid off of my shin, so she's threatening me, right? But as long as she can't hug my head, I can always pop up, spin around, and use that to recover back to my guard. So it becomes a really useful tool when you're in a scramble and somebody's trying to pass. So let's just say we're here, let's just say I'm playing half guard, right? We're going, we're playing, she's like trying to do her passes and stuff. I feel like she's moving too much this way, right? So I set my lasso in, right? So she pops up for a knee slide pass or something, right? Yeah, I'm in danger, right? So she goes in, continues to pass, and I use this motion to either get back to the guard, or if I get over this arm, I'm right in my triangle, ready to attack. Another really good way to drill this too is to have somebody pass your guard, okay? So let's say I'm here with the foot across the hip or whatever like this, right? So she starts to come around and pass, right? Even if she gets all the way to the side, as long as she can't hug my head, I'm gonna be able to tuck it underneath. And because my hips are outside, I'm gonna be able to invert, okay? But once she hugs my head, look, now I can't tuck my head under and invert anymore. So now I'm in big trouble, okay? But as long as I block this, so she comes in, I'm blocking this, right? I'm just gonna act quick. I just pop up to my knee, swing through, look, omoplata, right?
Punch your leg like pencil sweep?
Yeah, yeah, okay. Let's even say that Michelle's standing up. I use lasso a lot from people that are standing up, okay? And she controls my leg, right? Maybe she's gonna try to push my leg through and pass, right? So same thing, I just make sure she can't close that space. I shrink my hips out to make sure they're outside, invert, and I can either take her down with the omoplata or just spin back to my guard, and I've recovered, and I've beaten the threat, okay? So what I want you guys to do for this next few minutes, if you have a partner, if you don't have a partner, we'll just keep drilling the inversion, okay? But I want you guys to start in this position with your foot out, toes already planted. This person's gonna kind of come in, get low, down their knees and try to hug your head. I'm just gonna frame, I'm gonna make a hook, and I'm gonna cup her arm like this so she can't hug my head, okay? And I keep this hooked, I pop up to my knee, my shoulder, tuck my head, and roll. And I can either roll through the omoplata, or if I swing my leg out wide, swing all the way around, maybe catch the triangle or go right into an arm bar. There's a whole lot of cool stuff. All right, so the finish, the very end of an omoplata, okay, the very, very end, I'll show you what it's gonna look like, and then I'll show you, in my opinion, the best way to get there, okay? So for the perfect omoplata finish, my partner is gonna be flat on the ground, like she is laying her hips on the ground, this leg is stretched out, it's like totally straight, right? It looks like she's dead, right? That's what we want. We want them to be totally broken down on their right side, the same side with the shoulder that we're attacking. I want her facing like that way or straight down, okay? My hips are going to be facing her this way, okay? I'm not gonna be on my back sitting up like this, okay? And I'm not gonna be facing away from her. I wanna be facing towards her, okay? So that my knee is resting on the back of her arm, her upper arm, okay? So I'm able to put pressure down. If she tries to lift her shoulder off the mat, just the weight of my leg alone is gonna be enough to keep her on the ground, okay? This wrist is on the inside hip. That's a real big key, okay? So this wrist is over here close to her back. I don't want this wrist to drift to the far hip like this, okay? We can fix that if it does, but usually you're just gonna end up getting a sweep and you're not gonna get the submission if it goes over there, okay? My other leg is gonna come up, so my knees are pinching together tight, okay? Usually I'll have this grip for the finish, sometimes I won't, but I wanna keep this wrist on the inside, okay? Then ideally for an omoplata, my heels come back to my butt, because I'm gonna try to drive my knees down to the mat and lift my hips up. And as I do that, it's gonna push her wrist up towards her shoulder, okay? So it's like a Kimura in that we're trapping the elbow and we're rotating the wrist around the back, okay? But we're just doing that part with our hips, all right? So here's how we're gonna get there. Okay, so what I want to do to break her down straight is get control of this leg here, okay? You can spin through and sometimes catch this, okay, without doing this whole sequence here. But what happens if I just spin through and get here, she recognizes it coming, she might do a dive and do a roll herself. And if she does a roll, she's gonna roll through, and then I get a really cool sweep, or we fight for the top position, right? Okay? So as I go for my omoplata, my right hand, that's not really doing anything, I'm gonna reach through, okay? And as I reach through, I'm gonna grab onto her pants. Just somewhere down here at the bottom, right? Not inside the pants, but I'm just gonna grab it, okay? And I can get that at any point, but the earlier you get it, the easier, okay? So as I reach through, and this might help you tuck your head a little deeper too, because when you dive your shoulder under, it brings your head in close too. But now as I do my roll, and roll through, right? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep my leg pretty straight for now, and I'm gonna use both of my legs. I'm gonna swing them both down really hard, but I'm holding her pant leg and I'm gonna push it out, okay? So as I push her down, right, I'm still holding her leg here. That's gonna stretch her body out and make her fall flat on her hip, okay? And because I'm holding onto her arm, because my knee is on her shoulder and I'm holding onto her pants, she can't get up. It's almost impossible for her to get up as long as I keep her stretched out, okay? And then from here, I usually just come up, sit up, and then I'm ready to finish. My knees are pinched tight, my heels are back. I just sit up and drive the wrist towards her head with my hips.
Okay. Grab like right here on my pants, the bottom.
Yeah. Like I said, you can do this without getting that grip, but it really helps to seal the deal if you can get it. Okay, so as I dive under and get close and I set my foot out, I just catch that grip. Okay, and you see I'm punching my arm out straight. Okay, these legs are going to kick kind of straight, and I drive the back of my leg down to the mat to stretch her out, and I almost want to like slam her face into the mat. I'm going to be nice to my partner, but if I was doing this against somebody in a tournament, I would slam their face down to the mat. I would ram, just slam that thing down. But I'm holding this leg still above my head. Okay, that keeps her from coming up. Okay, now I just pull my heels back, right? I can sit up and then work to my finish by dragging my hips off the mat. In the finish, once you have the arm trapped and you're up to your knees, you just sit up and drive your hips up like this. So you basically just sit up all the way, okay? And it'll torque their shoulder up, okay? So my lasso, right? Set my foot out just like before. My right hand dives under, catches a pant grip, wherever I can get it, okay? I invert just like before, right? I do a shoulder roll, keeping this grip, punch it straight, and look, I'm gonna do this one a little bit harder. When I chop, it's like this. I chop my legs down, really strong, okay? I'm holding her leg here, right? That allows me to pull my heels back, sit up, and I'm ready for the finish. Yeah. Took out my lasso, we're fighting here, right? Maybe she tries to pass or something. Whoops, way out of the camera. One more time. So, right? Holding onto that leg. Yeah, her hip is down to the ground, my hips are facing hers, right? And I just come up. You can grab the belt if you want to pull yourself up. Right, she's already tapping because she has bad shoulders. But if her shoulder was still in here, put your arm and shoulder down. Let's say her arm was still on the inside, right? I like to sit up and get a seat belt. Because if they didn't tap from the shoulder lock, then I've got chokes. I can grab her lapel and do like a sliding collar choke and stuff like that too. Okay? It might just be your positioning at the start, okay? When I have my lasso, I just want my ankle to be hooked, right, for my control. I don't need my knee to be through there. But as I go for the omoplata, I'm gonna kick my knee through a little deeper, okay? So as I roll, I don't wanna be here because I don't have any power on that part of my leg, okay? I need to get my knee up through. So I kind of straighten my legs. See how my knee is past her elbow? That's gonna give me a lot more power to pull her down, okay? So if just your ankle is through, it's gonna be really hard to generate that kind of power to pull somebody down.